Hello, I'm FX Toycat, and did you know that Minecraft themselves released a texture pack onto the Minecraft store? It's called the Classic Texture Pack, and people seem to like it because it has over 250,000 reviews. This gets me intensely curious, and that's why today I'm going to be doing a texture pack review on this delightful looking first-party texture pack that is 100% free to download. And let's see what this texture pack is all about, because I've heard that every single texture in this pack was actually made by Mojang themselves. So how well can they design textures? We'll be finding that out right now. So we'll be doing the normal texture pack review format where we review the overworld as it exists naturally, the kind of natural world. Then we'll be checking out some builds that already exist. Then we'll be going to the nether. Then we'll be going to the end, and we'll be seeing how this texture pack looks in all of those different locations. So first of all, let's just head through my house and let's see what my lovely wood and brick thing looks like. As you can see, the floor texture is much more like noisy, I guess I would say. There's all these little dots which are meant to simulate maybe nails or something like that. I'm not entirely certain, but it doesn't look realistic in the slightest. I don't know why they decide to go with this. It is a significant downgrade over what the vanilla texture has, in my opinion. And then you can also see how the glass has a similar problem where it's just too noisy. I don't know why they thought that anyone would enjoy having loads of white bits covering up the screen, but as you can see, it's very hard to actually see outside of these things, which defeats the point of glass, in my opinion. You know what? Maybe Mojang is best leaving the textures to texture pack creators at this point, right? Honestly though, as we look at textures like the one for the furnace or the one for the melons perhaps, you can see just how ugly these are. They look like they were designed years ago, I would even say. And again, this is 2020 Minecraft. We have better standards than this. Even though the texture pack was released in 2019, it doesn't excuse the lousy textures like these leaves over here. Look how awful these leaves look. These don't look like leaves in the slightest. It's the same story when we look at the stone texture. Like, it looks way over-designed. It's just messy, and when you see so much of it together, it can be real ugly. This looks super, super basic in a way that isn't so great. The wool is, at least, not as bad, but it definitely suffers from the same problem on a smaller scale. You have to go pretty far back before you can start to just recognize the colors and not stare at these incessant patterns going down it. However, it's worth mentioning most of my old world, for some reason, whatever it is, seems to work just fine in these textures. It almost looks like this world was designed with these textures in mind, which is really great for Minecraft to pull that off. However, again, as soon as we look at any texture individually, you can start to see how ugly all the dots and the dashes and the unnecessary texture gradients can really become. And I think there's perhaps no worse example than looking at the light sources. Look at this jack-o'-lantern over here. Looks delightful, right? Or actually looks rather lightful, to be honest. But look at this lava. Look what a mess this is. I can't believe that they thought this would be a real lava they could throw in a texture pack, because my god, does this look horrendous. Like, especially with the square gradients that Minecraft does, it just doesn't fit into them in the slightest. It looks like hot cheese. I can't believe anyone would think this would ever fit into Minecraft, especially to call it the classic texture pack. With that said, I really do like the cobblestone here. I think I really prefer that. Obsidian is definitely at least workable. I would argue mildly better, if not the same. And the nether portal looks exactly the same. So let's see what's on the other side in the nether portion of the review. I never thought I would see a netherrack texture this darn ugly. What is this? Why is this? Oh my, this makes me want to physically throw up. And look, it covers the entirety of the nether. Look how ugly this whole dimension is. It doesn't look like a nether. It looks like a dimension filled with noise and mess and demons. And when you add the hot cheese texture that's gone on here too, it is not great in the slightest. The only thing I'm glad is that they didn't touch the Strider texture, because if they had, they would have made a big mistake there. It's actually kind of odd. Minecraft hasn't been updating this texture pack since 2019. I don't know why precisely that is, but it seems as though new things have remained untouched. But all of the old things like the netherrack, the nether brick, the lava, even when we look at things like magma, or if we look at perhaps even worse than that, the soul sand, you can see how all of these have been affected as well in ways that just are universally worse, in my opinion. The nether quartz ore, just again, the white part of that texture pack texture is the one thing I can live with. Everything else, horrendous. Same with this over here. Look at the glowstone. It looks like a 2009 texture or something like that. Again, it seriously looks like this was designed by a single dude years ago with no skill in design. It looks like a weird bitmap. It's so weirdly compressed to see that here in Minecraft. I don't like this in the slightest. This is not a professional texture pack, I wouldn't say. Seriously, I don't understand how anyone can live with this, how anyone could ever use this texture pack for this exact reason. The Nether is such a mess here, and I am glad that the Nether textures are so much better than whatever Minecraft thinks they can do to change them. Ugh, makes me physically sick, am I right? But does that get better when we go to the last part of this? There's a lot of other minor mob changes. I think the biggest, for instance, you can look at the magma cubes, which are interesting. You look at the ghasts, which are mostly the same. But the bigger one, in my opinion, is the zombie piglin, which is changed to a zombie pigman. I mean, what's the deal with this? Why is he a zombie pigman? It doesn't make any sense. I mean, piglins turning into zombified versions, that makes perfect sense. I mean, there's zombified piglins. Why is he half pig, half zombie, half man? What is the logic with this? He's a pig, he's a half pig, half man who's zombified? What was Minecraft thinking? If there's no pigman by itself, what sense does it make to have a zombie pigman? However, it is kind of nice to look at this, but again, it just makes no sense. I mean, we always see people saying we should change the zombified piglin into a zombie pigman, and I always thought that was a bit of a meme suggestion. Like, of course, you don't want this to be your, piglin. It doesn't make any sense. But apparently we've now seen what it looks like when we have pigmen again, and I'm not a fan. It doesn't even make sense. Apparently at one point they were planning to have pigmen be the villagers, but this is not a pigman villager that got zombified. This is a very confusing never-only mob that totally makes more sense as a piglin. I don't know what people are thinking of, but it is pretty cool that this texture pack does allow you to be a pigman. But zombie pigmen in the Nether makes just about as much sense as having snow in the Nether, which, as we all know, is something you can't do everywhere if you want to. So yeah, illogical change, illogical feature, and so ugly in my opinion. But that's enough of the talk about my ex-wife. Let's head over to the overworld now, and let's see what it's like on the other side. Because my first part of the world is many kind of builds. This part of the world is much more functional with sugarcane farms, etc, etc. Let's see what we find is over here. So first of all, we got this gravel texture, which I mean, I didn't think they could make me want to throw up anymore, but somehow they pulled it off. We've got my kind of house here, which, as you can see, very stone-based, so very ugly. Lots of glass, which, again, I don't know how anyone can live with this. It doesn't even work as glass. You can barely see out of it. Why would you even bother placing glass there? Just place some white quartz blocks, and it'll give you roughly the same vision, honestly. Wait, here's an artist's interpretation. If we covered our window with quartz blocks. We can see about the same amount, can't we? So I'll admit, I like this sugarcane texture. I think it's great. I'll admit, I like this water texture. It looks kind of weird, kind of old, but it does definitely work. Same if we look at the ice over here, or the ocelot, or the boat. There's a lot of textures that are kind of solid here. I'd say ice falls into a similar trap of being way too detailed. Like, if you're meant to be able to see through ice, why has it got these white bits on there? That is not how ice looks in the real world, I'm going to be honest with you. It doesn't have realism sorted at all, but I guess maybe there are some people that don't care about realism. Same for the minecart tracks. But again, most important part is what happens when we go underground. Can we tell what's going on in this texture pack, or does it all look ugly? Because my house looks delightful normally. This texture pack has made it look so ugly. This is, again, usually a perfect build in the side of the mountain. It looks wonderful. In this texture pack, for some reason, it just looks horrendous. It looks like, maybe a 16-year-old designed it, if I'm going to be honest with you. But yeah, let's go down underground. What is this texture, by the way? Like, why does the smithing table have a crafting table top? Is that what it's meant to look like? Does this look like this normally, or is this a classic texture pack thing? I genuinely don't know, but I'm very confused. Also, the stonecutter, it'd be nice if that looked like the old stonecutter if we're going for classic, but clearly we're not. And now let's head down underground to the mines, and let's talk about how Minecraft has managed to make the underground look. So, honestly, it looks pretty much the same as it does right now. There is something weird. If you look over here, you can see this redstone texture right here. For some reason, whatever reason it is, there's a little bit of a face chilling in there. Can you see it? There's like a mouth over there, there's a nose there, and then there's two kind of eyes. You can see the same here in the iron ore, actually. It's also found right here in the coal, which makes me question, why does Minecraft bother making new textures if they're all going to look exactly the same? They're all going to have this little face in the bottom right that just stares at you, winks at you even, which I just think is kind of dumb. But that is the life of Minecraft ore, I guess. Overall here, I would say there are definitely things that I like about this texture pack. However, would I recommend it over the current thing? I think not. I think if you got used to this texture pack, you might grow to hate the normal Minecraft textures, but I think that if you look at them side by side, or especially if you do any long-term comparison, you start to realize that the new, the Minecraft textures we have right now are pretty good. by comparison to this. And I also want to clarify, because here's a fun game you can play. Whenever I make a really sarcastic video where we deliberately miss the point, no matter how clear I make that sarcasm, literally a dozen times through the video, you're going to see people who commented based on the first 10 seconds, or who just didn't get the joke. So go read those comments and enjoy the people who are like, Toycat, don't you know? This is the classic textures. This is a thing that released a long time ago. I look forward to reading those, so you can enjoy those too, if you want to. But otherwise, I'm just going to say, this texture pack, it hasn't aged well, which is interesting, because I guess Minecraft textures, we would have just seen this as being the normal if they didn't update them. And obviously there's always a resistance to change, but once something becomes the new normal, then the change back to the old thing can seem so much worse by comparison. And yeah, if this doesn't prove that, I don't know what does. But yeah, thank you for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Seriously, some of these textures just so darn ugly. I don't know how they got away with ever having them like that in the first place. But yeah, I'll see you next time. Goodbye.